Oh, it's good one. Oh, yes. Come on. Thanks for choosing to watch the video. As we came out of winter and into early spring, it was actually quite mild, wasn't it? But since then, it's got really, really cold. The nighttime temperatures are sometimes going down below freezing. I was kind of looking forward to getting stuck into my tench fishing, but because of those conditions, I put the tench rods away, decided to go perch fishing again. Now, I've got to be honest, normally by the end of the river season, I fish so hard with lures, I'm actually looking forward to a bit of a break. But as you might have seen from the last video, right the way through the river season and particularly through winter, I really did mix it up quite a lot. So I feel like I've got a fair amount of perch fishing mojo and lure fishing mojo left in the system. So this one isn't a series of sessions, it's literally you joining me as we go out for the day. I'm going to go out, try and bag a decent perch, but of course the rivers are closed, so we've got to try and do it from a lake or canal. Didn't really know what to fish for today. I've got the day ahead of me. I was thinking about tench, but then the nighttime temperature's been so cold, it feels like possibly if I went to a fairly easy pond I could pick up one or two, but I didn't really fancy that. So I'm sticking with a perch. I'm going to hit the canal. I've also got a little pond in mind. I've even got a massive lake reservoir type thing. I'm just going to see what happens, but yeah, perch. I'm going to go in with a squirm just on the Ned because I was here the other day. I was chucking little crankbaits and all sorts of stuff, and it was the squirm on the Ned that worked in the end. So obviously that's what I'm going to go in with because the conditions haven't changed that much. So yeah, that's what I'm going to start with. I might switch it up between that and a squirrely maybe, see what works, and we'll just take it from there. Whoa. Okay. The predators are here. Right, what's that? Go on, be a perch. I wonder if they just sat down there. I think it is a perch, isn't it? Walloped it. Yeah, it is a perch. Come on. Oh, I haven't got much ceiling here. I wonder if there's a few sat down there. Yes. On a drop shot. Wonder if they're sat down there. Might be a bit noisy here under a bridge, but hey, look, finally got what we were after. Not a massive fish, but good to be catching perch again on the canal. Really have tried everything here. Finally got one on the drop shot, just half a squirrely, just nailed it up against some lock gates. So I've tried absolutely everything and actually had that fish on the drop shot in the end up against the lock gates, as you probably saw. What worked in the end was a squirrely just cut down. That's a little tip that's been given to me by Tim Jansen, and to be fair, he's given me a few decent bits of advice that I've put into my fishing, so fair play, Tim. But that's a really cool one. Just literally nip it so that it's not exactly in half. I do it just above, there's a slight notch in the lure, and I just cut it just slightly towards the head after the notch. This one's actually, I don't know if you can see, but it's lost part of its tail, that one, just in the fight or whatever. It was the Dart Lord that took the fish, and I just think with these squirrelies, if you can separate the weight from the lure, they just seem to be really, really good as they're falling, and just making them a little bit smaller, I think, just helps the fish get the lure in their mouth, maybe, I don't know. But great tip from Tim there. It's basically what's got me a fish today. So I've absolutely flogged this spot now. Just doesn't feel like it's going to produce anything else, to be honest. So I think that's it. I think we're done in this spot. We managed to nick a fish in the end, but we had to work so hard for it that I think it's probably worth jumping in the car. I've got about a 20-25 minute drive to another spot that I'm going to try, and fingers crossed we'll catch some more perch. Right, so had a result in that first location. I've now driven north about 20 minutes or so to a spot I've never fished before, but it has been on my radar for ages, on the canal again. This gives me the opportunity to do it, you know, because quite often I'm on the river, of course, but with the river closed, it gives me the opportunity to explore new parts of the canal. So that's what I'm doing. Got one in that last spot in the end. Hopefully we'll get some here as well. Right, I'm already not really sure about this area. The water is really coloured. Not only that, the bit that I wanted to fish that I've sort of seen on Google Maps, sort of like a mini marina, I'm not actually allowed to fish it. It's a no fishing zone. You can't tell that obviously from Google Maps. So I can't see me being in this spot long. Well, bugger. That was a complete waste of time. Never mind. Back in the car. There's so much weed here. What I'm doing is I'm just fishing a tiny little crankbait over the top of it. There is a lot of weed to contend with. Can't let it dive too deep. Over the top of it quite nicely now. It's day started well with a perch on the first stretch. Second stretch is all coloured and horrible, and the little pond that I've only walked around a couple of times and not recently, chock full of weed, and the only few clear spots that I know there are have got anglers in them. So I suppose this is just part of it when you're sort of moving around like this, going to spots that you don't go to that often. does mean that sometimes you can spend a while, you know, just chasing your tail a bit and not really getting anywhere. So, but never mind. I'm now off to the big lake, and I went there last week. Caught some nice pike, but struggled to find the perch. So let's see if we can put that right today. Well, this is a bit different. I mean, look, it's like fishing the sea. God, right on the end of a cold wind as well. You see, this is insane. Although you're picking it up on camera, but look, waves. Right down the bottom as well, right on the end of it. The reason I'm on the end of it, because the water's slightly shallower down here. And I think the perch might be coming down into the shallow water to spawn. But I've got to get out of this wind. It's not too bad, I'm puncturing it now. Going anywhere. There's waves, look. Can you have a more contrasting day? I was on the canal, then I was on a little pond, and now I'm on this huge sheet of water, all in pursuit of perch, which I've had one, moderate one so far. Driven God knows how many miles. Lunatic. So I did actually try on the back of the wind, and that was much more pleasant for me, and I did actually get a hit from something. But I do think that it's probably time to leave. I'm going to go because I think the best chance of a fish actually is at dusk, to go back to the canal, back to where I started. I did have that fish there, and I just feel like my best chance of getting a fish at dusk, yeah, is to head back to the canals. What a day! So I started on the canal, as you know. I picked up a fish there. Went about 20 miles or so north. The canal looked terrible there, all coloured and just horrible. So didn't fish there. Then I went to a small lake. The weed was up and it was only a small lake and there was quite a few people on it. So I had a few casts with a crankbait there and left it. Then I went to the big lake, big lake, very, very windy. Learnt a few new things, but didn't spend too long there. Back in the car now, going back to the original spot. Hopefully we'll get one at dusk. Go on, be a perch. be a perch. Feels quite perchy, it's got head shakes. But it feels quite big. It is a big perch. Come on. Go gentle. Oh, it's good. Oh, it's good. Oh, yes. Come on. I'm a bit gutted because I don't know how much of this you're going to see because it is pitch black. But I'm going to show you it anyway. Hopefully you can see that because I've worked really hard all day today for that. What a cracking fish. Pitch black though. What I'll do is I'll put some pictures up because the video is probably not going to be great, but really happy with that. So there you go. Got a result. It's probably a terrible picture, but thought I'd do a quick video. I have put in a hell of a lot of effort today just to try and get a fish. And you know, they say effort equals reward, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes you do put in a load of effort and it doesn't happen. Today it did. Absolutely chuffed. So good to get back out and still be perching by extending my perch fishing by going onto the canal. So we got a result in the end. I was trying to think how I approach a canal slightly differently to a river. I think there are probably a few differences. In terms of location, I'm sort of, you know, that's quite the same in actual fact. You know, I'm looking for junctions, I'm looking for marinas, I'm looking for structure, no, all the usual things. I have actually done a video called Going In Blind that is exactly how I tackle location on the canal. I'll put a link on the screen somewhere about that video. One thing I would say is the canal seems to be a little bit less temperamental. I'm particularly thinking about floods and stuff like that. It just feels like the canals fare a little bit better in those sort of situations. It also feels like the canals, or the ones that I fish at least, they've got a little bit less flow than the river in certain places. For me, that feels like I can drop down the size of the jig head that I'm using, which I always quite like to do if I can, just get that slow fall. You know, maybe 3 gram, but quite like using the 1.5s. In terms of lakes and how they're different from the river or the canal, for me, that's very different, particularly that big lake you saw me fishing. We're talking about big rods, bigger reels, much heavier jig heads, and just everything's just so different when you're going to tackle a venue like that. And I'm looking forward to doing another video on the big lake, because certainly we'll be going back there. We definitely have got unfinished business, so I look forward to sharing that with you very soon. In terms of what I'll be fishing for next, I've got the fly rod ready. Always like to do a little bit of fluff chucking at this time of year, so I'll be doing a bit of that. Conditions got to get milder soon. There's already signs of that, so definitely be hitting the tent soon. So yeah, that's kind of what I'll be up to, I think. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, remember to like and subscribe and all that stuff. But until the next video, just make sure you enjoy your fishing, look after yourselves, and be lucky.